Hello and welcome. My name is the Currency Doctor. Today we are going to talk about money. More specifically, your relationship with money. For many people, this relationship is stress. It is also dependency. They work for money. Money controls their choices. Money controls their time. Money controls their future. But it does not have to be this way. We will explore a different path, a path from dependency to freedom. This journey is called financial independence, FI, a state where your money works for you, not the other way around. It lets you live the life you truly want, free from financial obligation. FI is not a single destination. It is not all or nothing. Instead, it is a journey with clear milestones. We've broken it down into 10 distinct levels. They start at dependency. This is where most people begin. Step by step, we move through stages like stability, growth, freedom. Each level builds on the last. We finish at level 10, abundance. This framework is a clear map. It shows where you are and what to do next. The purpose of this masterclass is clarity. We will remove complexity and jargon. We'll use a simple visual approach, everything drawn on a clean white background, minimalist line art drawings. Every dollar amount will be written large and bold. Every percentage will be written large and bold. This is big number clarity. Seeing numbers clearly helps you understand them. It makes the math less intimidating. It makes the math more achievable. Our goal, make the path to wealth simple, visible, repeatable for everyone. We'll spend extra time on a crucial stage, coasting FI, the point where compound interest starts to work its magic. We'll dive deep into the math. I'll show step by step how investments grow on their own, even if you stop adding new money. We'll look at specific examples with clear numbers. Understanding this accelerates your journey to FI. By the end, you'll have a clear set of rules and a roadmap to follow, no matter your level today. To make these 10 levels real and relatable, we will follow the story of a case study couple. Let's call them John and Jane. They are just like many of us. Jobs, bills, dreams for a better future. When we first meet them, they are at level 1, dependency, living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to get ahead. We will follow them as they learn the rules of money. We will see their financial situation change as they climb the ladder of financial independence. Their story will provide a practical example for each stage. Using John and Jane, we turn abstract concepts into concrete actions. For each of the 10 levels, we will look at their specific numbers: income, expenses, savings, debts. These will be shown as large, bold figures on our whiteboard. For example, how much they save to build their first emergency fund at level 2. We will calculate their savings rate when they enter the growth stage at level 4. Small, consistent steps lead to massive long-term results. Their successes and challenges will be our guide. As they progress, you'll see principles of financial independence in action. How they tackle high-interest debt and why it matters. How they use an employer retirement match to leverage free money. At Coasting FI, we run portfolio scenarios. What happens if John decides to work part-time? What happens if Jane stops contributing to their investments for a few years to pursue a passion project? The math will be laid out clearly, showing the direct impact of these decisions on their path to wealth. The story of John and Jane is designed to be your story. As you watch them move from one level to the next, I encourage you to think about your own situation. Which level are you on right now? What is the one action you can take to move to the next level? FI isn't reserved for the wealthy. It's achievable for anyone following a simple, proven path. Their journey from dependency to abundance is a clear blueprint. Table of Contents, Part 2, Act 1, Levels 1 through 3. Survival, stability, buffer. About 6 sections. Section 1, Level 1, Dependency, living paycheck to paycheck. Section 2, the numbers of dependency, John and Jane's budget. Section 3, Level 2, Stability, breaking the cycle. Section 4, building the first safety net. Section 5, Level 3, the buffer, creating breathing room. Section 6, managing debt and building a surplus. We begin our journey at the very first level. This is level 1, dependency. This stage is also known as survival mode. It is a place where many people find themselves, often without realizing how common it is. At this level, your income might cover your immediate needs, but just barely. There is no room for error. A single unexpected bill, like a car repair or a medical expense, can trigger a financial crisis. You are entirely dependent on your next paycheck. The feeling is one of constant stress. You are working for money, and the money disappears as quickly as it arrives. There is nothing left over to save or invest. Life at level 1 is a treadmill. You run hard just to stay in the same place. Each month, the cycle repeats. Income arrives, and bills immediately consume it. The primary financial goal is simply to make it to the next payday. Long-term planning feels like an impossible luxury. The focus is on the immediate present because the future is a source of anxiety, not opportunity. This is not a judgment. It is a starting point. Acknowledging that you are at this level is the first and most powerful step toward change. It is the foundation for future financial security. The key characteristic of dependency is the absence of a financial cushion. There are no savings. If you were to lose your job, you would be in immediate trouble. You rely on your active labor for every single dollar needed to survive. This creates a fragile existence. You may be forced to take on high-interest debt, such as credit card debt or payday loans, just to cover basic living expenses. This debt acts like an anchor. It weighs you down and makes it even harder to break the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. The interest payments consume a portion of your already strained income. Understanding level 1 is crucial. It defines the problem we are trying to solve. The problem is a lack of margin. There is no space between your income and your expenses. Our journey through the 10 levels is about creating and expanding that margin. It is about building a gap between what you earn and what you spend, and then using that gap to build wealth. For now, the goal is simple. Recognize this stage. It is a state of financial vulnerability. From here, we will introduce John and Jane to see exactly what this looks like in practice, with clear, bold numbers. Let's return to our case study couple, John and Jane. When we first meet them, they are firmly at level 1, dependency. They both have jobs. John earns $2,500 per month after taxes. Jane also earns $2,500 per month after taxes. Together, their total monthly household income is $5,000. On the surface, this seems like a reasonable amount of money. However, when we look at their expenses, we see a different story. The money flows out just as quickly as it comes in. They are living paycheck to paycheck, with nothing left at the end of the month. Their financial life is balanced on a knife's edge. Let's draw their monthly budget on the whiteboard. Their rent is $1,800. Their car payments and insurance total $600. Groceries cost them about $700 a month. Utilities, including electricity, water, and internet, add up to $300. Student loan payments are $400. Their phone bills are $150. They also have credit card debt, and the minimum payments are $250 per month. Finally, other miscellaneous spending on things like subscriptions, eating out, and entertainment comes to $800. When we add all of these expenses together, the total is exactly $5,000. Their income equals their outgoings. The result is a monthly surplus of $0. This is the mathematical definition of level 1. There is no money left to save. There is no money to invest. There is no money to pay down debt faster. An unexpected expense of just $100 would force them to either cut back on a necessity like groceries or add to their credit card balance. This is the trap of dependency. Their hard work generates a good income, but their lifestyle and obligations consume all of it. They feel like they are running in place. The numbers on our whiteboard show exactly why that is. The first step for John and Jane is not to feel shame or despair. It is to gain clarity. By writing down every single dollar, they can see where their money is going. This act of tracking is the start of taking control. Before they can change their situation, they must first understand it completely. They need to see the bold, clear numbers in front of them. Their $5,000 income is being completely neutralized by their $5,000 in expenses. The goal now is to find a way to create a gap. The next level, stability, is all about creating that first small gap and breaking this cycle for good. Section 3. Level 2. Stability, breaking the cycle. Now we move to Level 2. Stability. This is the first major turning point on the path to financial independence. The goal of this level is to break the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. Stability is achieved when your income reliably covers all of your essential needs, and you have a small, consistent amount of money left over. This leftover money is called a surplus. It is the most important number in your financial life. At Level 1, the surplus was 0. At Level 2, we create a positive surplus, even if it is a small one. This marks the transition from pure survival to the beginning of financial control. The key action at Level 2 is to build your first emergency fund. This is a small amount of cash set aside for unexpected essential expenses. A common target for this initial emergency fund is $1,000. The exact amount is less important than the act of creating it. This is your first pot of money that has a specific job to protect you. How do John and Jane get to Level 2? They must either increase their income or decrease their expenses. Let's assume they focus on their expenses first, as this is often the quickest way to create a surplus. They review their budget together. They look at that 800 miscellaneous spending category. They decide they can reduce their spending on eating out, subscriptions. They find ways to cut this category in half, saving $400 per month. They also review their grocery bill and find they can save $100 by planning meals better. This simple act of tracking and cutting creates a monthly surplus of $500. Their income is still $5,000, but their expenses are now $4,500. This $500 surplus is the seed of their financial future. It is the tool they will use to build their starter emergency fund. By saving this entire surplus, they can reach their $1,000 goal in just 2 months. For the first time, they have a safety net. If the car breaks down and needs a $700 repair, they can pay for it with cash from their emergency fund. They do not need to take on more credit card debt. This is a monumental shift in their financial reality. Section 4. Building the first safety net. Achieving Level 2. Stability is a profound psychological victory. Having $1,000 saved changes how you view money. It reduces financial anxiety. The constant fear of the unknown begins to fade. John and Jane no longer dread a flat tire. John and Jane no longer dread a leaking pipe. They know they have a small cushion to handle life's minor financial bumps. This mental shift is just as important as the financial one. It allows them to stop thinking only about immediate survival. Start thinking about the near future. It frees up mental energy, allowing them to focus on their next steps. This initial emergency fund must be kept in a safe and easily accessible place. It should not be invested in the stock market. The goal of this money is not growth. It is security. A simple high-yield savings account is the perfect home for it. It needs to be separate from their primary checking account. This separation is important. It prevents them from accidentally spending the money on non-emergencies. John and Jane open a new savings account online and name it Emergency Fund. Seeing that account with a $1,000 balance gives them a daily reminder of the progress they have made. With their $500 monthly surplus, they hit their $1,000 goal in 2 months. This is a critical moment. They have successfully executed their first financial plan. They set a goal. They created a strategy. They followed through. This builds confidence. They see that they are in control of their financial destiny. They prove to themselves that they can change their habits and achieve a tangible result. This initial success creates momentum. It makes them eager to tackle the next level and build upon what they have started. The journey no longer feels impossible. It now feels achievable, one step at a time. Once the starter emergency fund is in place, what happens next? They continue to save their $500 monthly surplus. This money now has a new job. It can be used to start paying down their most expensive debt, the high-interest credit card. Or it can be used to continue building their emergency savings toward a larger goal. This is the choice they face as they prepare to move to Level 3. The key is that they now have a choice. At Level 1, they had no choices. At Level 2, they have created options for themselves. They have broken the cycle of dependency and built their first small wall of defense. Section 5. Level 3. The buffer, creating breathing room. Welcome to Level 3, the buffer. At this stage, we move from short-term stability to building a more robust financial foundation. The primary goal of Level 3 is to expand your safety net. That initial 1,000 emergency fund was a great start, but it would not last long in a true emergency, like a job loss. At this level, we aim to build a fully funded emergency fund that can cover 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses. This larger buffer provides genuine breathing room. It gives you the security to handle significant life events without derailing your financial progress or going into debt. To calculate the size of their full emergency fund, John and Jane must first determine their essential monthly expenses. These are the costs they absolutely must pay to survive. Rent, $1,800. Utilities, $300. Groceries, $600. Minimum debt payments, $650. Student loans, credit cards, transportation costs, estimated at $400. Their total essential monthly expenses are $3,750. This is the bare bones number they need to live on if they lost their income. Their target for a 3-month emergency fund is $3,750 multiplied by 3, which equals $11,250. For a 6-month fund, the target would be $22,500. This is a significant amount of money, and it will take time to save. John and Jane decide to aim for the 3-month goal first. They already have $1,000 saved from Level 2. They need an additional $10,250. With their $500 monthly surplus, it will take them just over 20 months to reach this goal. This may seem like a long time, but the security it provides is invaluable. It is a core pillar of financial health. Having this buffer changes the power dynamic in your life. With 3 to 6 months of expenses saved, you are no longer dependent on your employer for immediate survival. You have the freedom to leave a toxic work environment. You have time to search for a new job that aligns better with your skills and values. You have the resources to handle a major medical issue without going bankrupt. This buffer is FU money, as it is sometimes called. It gives you the power to say no. For John and Jane, building this fund is their top priority as they move through Level 3. At Level 3, while building their larger emergency fund, John and Jane must also have a clear plan for their debt. They have 2 main debts: student loans, high-interest credit card debt. The credit card debt is the most dangerous. They have a balance of $8,000 at an interest rate of 22%. This is a financial emergency. The interest alone is costing them a significant amount each month. While building the emergency fund is important, some experts say paying high-interest debt should be the top priority after the starter $1,000 is saved. A balanced approach is often best. John and Jane split their $500 monthly surplus. They put $250 toward their emergency fund. They put $250 toward their credit card. On top of their $250 minimum payment, they add another $250 for $500 a month to the credit card, known as the debt snowball or the debt avalanche method. Extra payments mean paying the debt off much faster and saving big on interest. This is an active step toward financial health. It will take longer to build the full 3-month emergency fund. Instead of 20 months, it will take about 41 months. Still, they'll make big progress on the high-interest debt. After about 15 months of paying $500 a month, the $8,000 balance will be gone. Then their $250 monthly minimum is freed up. They can redirect the $500 they were paying on the card plus their original $500 surplus. Their monthly surplus becomes $750, $500 from expense cuts plus $250 from the eliminated card payment. They funnel the full amount into the emergency fund. By the end of Level 3, 0 high-interest debt and an emergency fund of $11,250. Their financial foundation is solid. They have a buffer against emergencies and have eliminated the drag of expensive debt. We now arrive at Level 4, the growth phase. This is where the journey to wealth truly accelerates. Levels 1 to 3 were about building a solid defense. We eliminated high-interest debt. We created a robust emergency fund. Our financial foundation is now secure. With that defense in place, we can now shift our focus to offense. The goal of Level 4 is to begin systematically and intentionally investing your money. This is the stage where you start building the engine that will eventually power your financial independence. You are no longer just saving money. you're putting your money to work for you. Direct your monthly surplus into assets expected to grow in value over time. For most people, this means investing in the stock market. We are not talking about picking individual stocks or trying to time the market. Invest in low-cost, broad market index funds. Own a tiny piece of hundreds or thousands of companies. Instant diversification. Capture long-term growth of the overall market. Markets trend upwards over time despite short-term volatility. Understand asset allocation. Decide how to divide money between different asset types, primarily stocks. Bonds. A common starting point. Heavily weighted in stocks. 80% stocks, 20% bonds, or even 100% stocks. Stocks offer higher growth potential, but more risk and volatility. Bonds are generally safer and less volatile, but offer lower returns. Your risk tolerance and time horizon determine the right mix for you. Automate your investing. Set up automatic transfers from your bank to your investment account every month, or with every paycheck. Pay yourself first. Build wealth without thinking. Dollar cost averaging. Invest the same amount regularly. Buy more shares when prices are low. Buy fewer shares when prices are high. This disciplined, automated approach is the key to navigating the growth phase. Let's check back in with John and Jane. They have successfully completed level 3. They have 0 credit card debt. They have a fully funded 3-month emergency fund of $11,250, sitting safely in a high-yield savings account. Their monthly surplus is now a consistent $750. This $750 is now ready to be deployed. They no longer need to build their cash savings. They no longer need to pay down high-interest debt. It is time for them to begin investing. This is a significant milestone. For the first time, they are moving from a mindset of saving and debt repayment to one of wealth creation and long-term growth. John and Jane decide to open a brokerage account. They choose a reputable low-cost provider. After some research, they decide on a simple asset allocation. Given their age and long time horizon until retirement, they opt for a portfolio that is 100% in a total stock market index fund. This gives them maximum exposure to potential market growth. They understand that this approach will be volatile in the short term. They are comfortable with the risk because they will not need to touch this money for many decades. Their emergency fund is there to handle any immediate cash needs. They set up an automatic transfer. Every month, on the day after they get paid, $750 is automatically moved from their checking account into their brokerage account. It is invested in the total stock market index fund. They ignore the news headlines and the daily fluctuations. They are focused on the long-term process of accumulating shares. This disciplined, unemotional approach is the secret to successful long-term investing. It removes guesswork and fear from the equation. After 1 year of consistent investing, John and Jane will have contributed $9,000. 750 times 12 months. Depending on the market's performance, that $9,000 might be worth a bit more or a bit less. Let's assume the market had a decent year and their balance is now $9,500. They have not only saved $9,000, but their money has also earned an additional $500 all by itself. This is their first experience with investment returns. It is a small amount, but it is the beginning of the compounding process. They are now officially in the growth phase, building the portfolio that will one day grant them freedom. As John and Jane continue their automated investing, we introduce level 5, leverage. In the world of finance, leverage can be a complex and dangerous tool, often associated with borrowing money to invest. However, for our purposes, we are focusing on a very specific and powerful form of leverage that is available to many employees. This is the employer match for a retirement savings plan, such as a 401k in the United States or a similar program in other countries. This is one of the only instances where you can receive a 100% guaranteed return on your money instantly. The concept of an employer match is simple. Your employer wants to encourage you to save for retirement. To do this, they offer to match your contributions up to a certain percentage of your salary. A very common matching formula is dollar for dollar up to 5% of your salary. This means if you contribute 5% of your paycheck to your retirement account, your employer will contribute an additional 5% on your behalf for free. You have instantly doubled your investment. Failing to take advantage of this is like turning down a raise. It is leaving free money on the table. Let's look at the numbers for John. His annual salary is $30,000 before taxes. His employer offers a dollar-for-dollar match on contributions up to 5% of his salary. To get the full match, John needs to contribute 5% of his $30,000 salary, which is $1,500 per year, or $125 per month. If he does this, his employer will also contribute $1,500 to his account. So, John's $1,500 contribution immediately becomes $3,000 in his retirement account. This is a 100% return on his investment before the money has even had a chance to grow in the market. This is the most powerful leverage available to the average investor. The absolute first priority for any investment dollar should be to capture the full employer match. Before investing in a separate brokerage account, before paying extra on a low-interest mortgage, and before any other investment, you must contribute enough to your workplace retirement plan to get the full match. This is the lowest hanging fruit on the tree of wealth. Let's reevaluate John and Jane's plan. They are currently saving $750 per month into a brokerage account. Jane's employer, unfortunately, does not offer a retirement plan match. However, John's employer does. Dollar for dollar up to 5%. John's pre-tax salary is $30,000. 5% of his salary is $1,500 per year, or $125 per month. To capture this free money, John needs to start contributing $125 per month from his paycheck into his 401k. This money is taken out before taxes, which provides an additional benefit by lowering his taxable income for the year. John and Jane adjust their strategy. They decide to allocate the first $125 of their $750 monthly surplus to John's 401k. This contribution will be met with another $125 from his employer, for a total of $250 going into his retirement account each month. The remaining $625 of their surplus will continue to be invested in their separate brokerage account. Their total monthly investment remains the same, but the allocation has been optimized. They are now leveraging John's employer benefit to accelerate their progress significantly, adding an extra $1,500 of free money to their portfolio each year. This strategic shift highlights the importance of understanding all the tools at your disposal. By prioritizing the employer match, John and Jane are making their money work much harder. Every dollar John contributes up to the match is instantly doubled. This powerful leverage dramatically shortens the time it will take for their investments to grow to a substantial amount. It is a simple adjustment, but one with profound long-term consequences for their wealth-building journey. They are now not only investing consistently, but also investing in the most efficient way possible for their situation. With this new plan in place, their total annual investment is $9,000 from their own surplus, plus an additional $1,500 from John's employer. That's a total of $10,500 being added to their portfolio each year. They continue this disciplined approach for several years. Their investment portfolio, which started at zero, begins to grow steadily. It grows from the consistent contributions and from the returns of the market itself. We have now reached a pivotal moment in our journey, Level 6, also known as Coasting FI. This concept unlocks a new level of freedom and flexibility. Coasting financial independence is when your existing investment portfolio is large enough. Without further contributions, it can grow to support retirement at a traditional age. The heavy lifting of saving is essentially done. The magic of compound interest has taken over and will now do the work for you. From this point forward, you only need to earn enough to cover your current living expenses. Let's define this more clearly. Imagine John and Jane have reached a portfolio value of $100,000. They are both 30 years old. They want to retire at age 65. If that $100,000 is left to grow in the stock market for the next 35 years, assuming an average annual return of 7% after inflation, it will grow to over $1 million by age 65. If their desired retirement spending can be covered by a portfolio of that size, they have officially hit Coasting FI. They no longer need to save another dollar for retirement. Their existing nest egg will coast to the finish line on its own. This is a profound shift in one's financial reality. The pressure to save a large portion of your income is removed. As long as you can cover your monthly bills, your retirement is already secured. This opens up a world of possibilities. You could switch to a less stressful, lower-paying job that you are more passionate about. You could go part-time to spend more time with family or on hobbies. You could take a mini-retirement or a sabbatical to travel the world. You are no longer chained to a high-stress, high-paying job just for the sake of saving for the future. The freedom of choice expands dramatically. Reaching Coasting FI is the first time you truly feel the immense power of your investment portfolio. It is no longer just a number on a screen. It is a powerful engine working for you 24 hours a day. It is the reward for all the discipline and sacrifice made in the earlier levels. The years of tracking expenses, cutting costs, paying off debt, and consistently investing have paid off. You have built a financial machine that now has a life of its own. To truly grasp the power of Coasting FI, we must look at the numbers. The engine here is compound interest. Albert Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. Compounding. Your returns generating returns. It's a snowball effect. Portfolio grows, earnings grow, exponential growth. John and Jane, $100,000 principal. Age 30, no further contributions. Assume returns, historically about 10%. Conservative real return, 7%. Year 1, 100,000 x 7%, 7,000, 107,000. Year 2, 7% on 107,000, 7,490, 114,490. That small difference, earnings have started to earn. Let's fast forward. After 10 years, about $196,715. After 20 years, about $386,968. After 35 years, age 65, about $1,067,658. This is the power of time and compounding. They turned 100,000 into over 1 million by leaving it alone. This calculation is the heart of Coasting FI. It shows how a sufficiently large nest egg can secure your future. The rate of return has a huge impact. 5% real, about $551,602 in 35 years. 7% real, about $1,067,658. 8% real, over $1,478,000. Key takeaway, the principle matters more than the exact final number. A large sum, invested long-term, grows much larger. Reaching the Coasting FI number is the milestone that confirms your portfolio can make this journey on its own. Now that John and Jane have hit Coasting FI with their $100,000 portfolio at age 30, they have choices. Let's explore a few scenarios. In the first scenario, they decide they are happy with their jobs and their $750 monthly surplus. Instead of stopping their contributions, they continue to invest $10,500 each year, including the employer match. By continuing to save, they are no longer just coasting. They are dramatically accelerating their path to full financial independence. After years of coasting, or perhaps accelerating, we arrive at level 7, freedom. This level is also known as half FI. It represents the point where your investment portfolio has grown large enough to cover a significant portion, but not all, of your desired lifestyle expenses. A common definition for this stage is when your portfolio is large enough to safely withdraw an amount equal to half of your annual spending. This is the first tangible taste of true financial independence. Your portfolio is no longer just a retirement plan for the distant future. It can now begin to support your life today. To understand this, we need to introduce the concept of a safe withdrawal rate, or SWR. A widely studied and commonly used SWR is 4%. This rule suggests that you can withdraw 4% of your portfolio's value in the first year of retirement, and then adjust that amount for inflation each subsequent year, with a very high probability of your money lasting for at least 30 years. To calculate the portfolio size needed for full FI, you multiply your annual expenses by 25, which is the inverse of 4%. For John and Jane, whose annual expenses are $54,000, $4,500 times 12, their full FI number is $1,350,000. At level 7, the goal is to reach half of that full FI number. For John and Jane, this would be $675,000. Once their portfolio reaches $675,000, they can apply the 4% rule to see what it can provide. A 4% withdrawal from $675,000 is $27,000 per year. This is exactly half of their $54,000 annual spending. This means their investments can now pay for half of their lifestyle. They only need to earn the other $27,000 per year from work. This dramatically reduces the amount of money they need to earn, granting them an incredible amount of freedom and flexibility. This stage is often called barista FI, as one could theoretically work a low-stress, part-time job, like being a barista, to cover the remaining expenses. At this level, John or Jane could quit their traditional career entirely, while the other works part-time, or they could both work very minimal hours. The need to earn a large salary is gone forever. Their investment portfolio is now an active partner in funding their life. This is a major psychological milestone. It proves that the system works and that full financial independence is no longer a distant dream, but an approaching reality. Section 1. Level 8. Security. Building a margin of safety. We now ascend to level 8. Security. This is the stage where you are comfortably financially independent, with a significant margin of safety built into your plan. At level 7, freedom, your portfolio could cover half your expenses. At this new level, your investment portfolio is large enough to cover 100% of your annual expenses, according to the 4% rule. But you choose not to fully retire yet. This is the final buffer zone before you cut the cord to active employment completely. The goal here is to stress test your plan, build confidence, and create a cushion that protects you from market downturns or unexpected life events. It is about moving from just enough to more than enough. At level 8, you have officially reached your financial independence number. For John and Jane, with annual expenses of $54,000, their FI number is $1,350,000. $54,000 times 25. Once their portfolio crosses this threshold, they can technically stop working and live off their investments. However, many people feel a sense of anxiety at this point. What if the market crashes right after they retire? What if their expenses are higher than anticipated? Level 8 is designed to address these fears directly. It involves continuing to work, perhaps part-time, allowing the portfolio to grow even larger, creating a buffer above the initial FI number. This creates a powerful sense of security. During this phase, many people also begin to adjust their asset allocation. Growth phase, acceleration phase. Historically, a portfolio of 100% stocks was appropriate. Now, as they prepare to start living off the money, it can be wise to reduce volatility slightly, shifting to a more conservative allocation, 80% stocks, 20% bonds. The bonds act as a stabilizing force, providing a source of funds to draw from during a stock market downturn, so you do not have to sell your stock holdings when their prices are low. This tactical shift is all about capital preservation and ensuring the longevity of the portfolio. The security level is a period of observation and confidence building. John and Jane might track their spending meticulously for a year without touching their investments, just to confirm that their $54,000 annual budget is realistic and comfortable. They watch their $1,350,000 portfolio fluctuate, getting used to the ups and downs without panicking. They see it generate dividends and growth, proving that it can indeed support them. This stage might last 1 year or several years, depending on an individual's comfort level. It is the final dress rehearsal before the grand performance of a fully funded work-free life, ensuring that when the curtain rises, the plan is ready for anything. Section 2. John and Jane reach financial security. Let's revisit John and Jane. Through years of consistent saving and the power of compounding, their portfolio has finally reached $1,350,000. They are 52 years old. They have officially achieved their financial independence number. This is a moment of immense accomplishment. The journey that started with a $0 surplus and a mountain of anxiety has culminated in a portfolio capable of funding their entire lifestyle. They have reached level 8. However, instead of immediately quitting their jobs, they decide to implement a security buffer. They agree to work for 2 more years, allowing their nest egg to grow even larger and solidify their position. During these 2 years, they continue to live on their work income, and they decide to stop making new contributions to their portfolio. Their surplus income is instead used for fun, travel. Let's assume the market provides an average 7% return during this time. Their $1,350,000 portfolio grows to approximately $1,444,500 after the first year. After the second year, it grows again to roughly $1,545,000. By the time they are ready to fully retire at age 54, their portfolio is nearly $200,000 larger than their original FI number required. This is their margin of safety. With this buffer in place, the 4% rule becomes much more robust. A 4% withdrawal from their new portfolio of $1,545,000 would be $61,800 per year. This is significantly more than their planned annual spending of $54,000. This means they are effectively starting with a withdrawal rate of only about 3.5%, $54,000 divided by $1,545,000. A lower initial withdrawal rate dramatically increases the probability of the portfolio lasting forever and even continuing to grow over time. This mathematical advantage translates into a profound sense of peace of mind. They are not just scraping by, they are secure. During this 2-year period, John and Jane also adjust their asset allocation. They sell some of their stock market index fund and buy a bond index fund, shifting their portfolio from 100% stocks to an 80-20 split of stocks and bonds. This adds a layer of stability. If the stock market were to fall by 30%, their total portfolio would only fall by about 24%, and they would have a stable source of funds in their bonds to live on. Having completed this final stage of preparation, John and Jane are now ready, both financially and psychologically, to take the final step and declare their full independence. Section 3. Level 9. Independence, the finish line. We have arrived at Level 9. Independence. This is the destination that the entire journey has been leading towards. This is full financial independence. At this stage, you no longer need to work for money. Your investment portfolio, years or decades of building, is now substantial enough to cover your lifestyle expenses indefinitely. The active accumulation phase is over. The distribution phase begins. You transition from earning a paycheck to creating a paycheck from your own portfolio. You trade your job for true freedom of time and choice, the ultimate reward for your financial discipline. The mechanism for this new life is the withdrawal strategy we have discussed, the 4% rule as a guideline. You begin to systematically draw down from your portfolio to fund your life. This is not a passive process. It requires careful management. You must account for taxes on your withdrawals. Money taken from pre-tax retirement accounts will be taxed as ordinary income. You must also account for inflation. Ensure the amount you withdraw increases each year to maintain purchasing power. A $54,000 lifestyle this year will require more dollars next year to buy the same goods and services. Life at Level 9 is a complete paradigm shift. For your entire adult life, you focused on earning and saving. Now the focus shifts to spending, preservation, stewardship of the wealth you have built. Your time is now completely your own. You can structure your days, weeks, and years as you see fit, without job constraints. This can be a significant adjustment. Many new retirees find it essential to have a plan for money and for time. What hobbies will you pursue? How will you stay socially engaged? Who will you spend your time with? Financial independence gives you the resources. You must provide the purpose. The feeling of reaching this level is profound liberation. The daily alarm clock, the stressful commute, the difficult boss, all of these become things of the past. You are the master of your own schedule. If you want to travel for 3 months, you can. If you want to spend your days reading, you can. Gardening, volunteering, you can. If you want to start a new project or business purely for love, not for money, you have the freedom to do so. This is the culmination of the simple path to wealth. Money is no longer a source of stress or limitation. It is a tool that enables a life lived on your own terms. Section 4. Living off the portfolio. John and Jane's FI life. At age 54, John and Jane take the leap. They both quit their jobs and enter level 9, independence. Their investment portfolio stands at $1,545,000. Their planned annual spending is $54,000, which is a comfortable 3.5% of their starting portfolio. They set up a system to pay themselves. Each month, they automatically transfer $4,500 from their investment accounts to their checking account. This becomes their new paycheck, providing the cash flow for their monthly bills, groceries, and other expenses. For the first time in their adult lives, their livelihood is completely disconnected from a job. Their days look very different now. John, who always wanted to learn woodworking, converts their garage into a workshop. He spends his mornings crafting furniture for their home and for friends. Jane rediscovers her love for painting and sets up a studio in their spare bedroom. They take long walks together every afternoon. They travel during the off-season, taking advantage of lower prices and smaller crowds. They visit their family more often. Their lives are no longer dictated by a 9-to-5 schedule. They are filled with activities they choose, driven by passion and interest rather than financial necessity. Their time is finally their own. They remain diligent about managing their finances, but the nature of the task has changed. Once a year, they sit down to review their portfolio and plan for the year ahead. They calculate the effect of inflation. If inflation was 3% last year, they know they need to increase their annual withdrawal from $54,000 to $55,620, $54,000 times 1.03, to maintain their standard of living. This means their new monthly paycheck will be $4,635. They also rebalance their portfolio, selling assets that have grown excessively and buying those that have lagged to maintain their target 80-20 allocation. They experience their first market downturn in retirement. The stock market drops 20%, and their portfolio value temporarily falls. Because they have a plan and a security buffer, they do not panic. They continue to withdraw their planned monthly amount, but they draw it from their bond allocation, giving their stocks time to recover. They have confidence in their strategy because they built it to withstand this exact scenario. Their financial security is not threatened. They have successfully transitioned from building a nest egg to living off of it, navigating the realities of the market with a calm and disciplined approach. Section 5. Level 10. Abundance. Beyond financial needs. Finally, we arrive at the 10th and ultimate level, abundance. This is the stage where your wealth has grown far beyond what you need to support your own lifestyle. At level 9, your portfolio comfortably covers your expenses. At level 10, the portfolio is so large that it continues to grow significantly even after you take your annual withdrawals. Your passive income from investments is not just enough, it is excessive. This surplus wealth opens up a new dimension of choice and impact. The focus shifts from personal security to legacy, philanthropy, and making a significant difference in the world around you. The mathematical definition of abundance is when your portfolio's real growth rate is consistently higher than your withdrawal rate. For example, if your portfolio is generating a 7% real return after inflation, and you are only withdrawing 3% or 4% to live on, your wealth will continue to compound and grow larger each year. Your nest egg is no longer just a source of income. It has become a self-perpetuating dynasty of wealth. This creates a surplus that you can deploy for purposes far beyond your own consumption. It is the point where you have more money than you could ever reasonably spend on yourself. At this level, you have the financial capacity to solve problems, create opportunities for others, and support the causes you care about on a grand scale. You can fund a scholarship at your old university. You can make a transformative donation to a charity you admire. You can become an angel investor, providing capital to young entrepreneurs with promising ideas. You can create a family foundation to ensure your philanthropic efforts continue for generations. The choices are limitless. Abundance is not about buying more things. It is about having the resources to amplify your values and create a lasting, positive impact on the world. Reaching level 10 also prompts important conversations about estate planning. With wealth that will outlive you, you must decide how it will be managed and distributed after you are gone. This involves working with legal and financial professionals to create trusts and wills that reflect your wishes. Do you want to pass on wealth to your children or other family members? How can you do so in a way that empowers them rather than hinders their own growth? Do you want to leave a significant portion to charitable causes? Abundance brings with it the great responsibility of being a wise and thoughtful steward of capital, both during your lifetime and beyond. Section 6. The Legacy of John and Jane, Choices of Abundance. Years into their retirement, John and Jane find themselves at level 10. Their portfolio started at $1,545,000. It benefited from a few good market years. Even after withdrawing their inflation-adjusted living expenses, their nest egg has grown to well over $2 million. Their 3.5% withdrawal rate is now closer to 2.5%. Their wealth is growing faster than they are spending it. They have more than enough. They have reached a state of true abundance. This surplus gives them a new sense of purpose. How can they best use these additional resources to help others and create a legacy? They decide on a multifaceted approach. First, they want to help their family. They have a niece who is a bright student, but is worried about the cost of university. John and Jane decide to pay for her entire 4-year tuition, ensuring she can graduate without the burden of student loans that they themselves once faced. This act of generosity is incredibly fulfilling for them. It feels like they are closing a loop, using their success to give the next generation an easier start. They are not just giving money, they are giving the gift of opportunity and financial freedom from day one. Next, they focus on their community. Jane begins volunteering at a local animal shelter and discovers it is struggling with funding. Using their surplus investment income, they make a significant annual donation that covers the shelter's veterinary bills for the entire year. They also fund the construction of a new wing for the facility. John uses his woodworking skills to build custom furniture and climbing structures for the animals. They are not just writing a check, they are actively involved, combining their financial resources with their time and skills to make a tangible difference in a cause they believe in. Finally, they think about their long-term legacy. They work with an attorney to set up a simple estate plan. They decide that upon their passing, a portion of their wealth will be left to their family members. However, the majority will be used to create a charitable trust. This animation shows that after they are gone, the trust continues to fund the animal shelter and educational scholarships in perpetuity. Today, we have traveled a long road together, charting a clear course from financial fragility to profound freedom, We have dissected the journey into 10 distinct and manageable levels, creating a map that anyone can follow. We began at level 1, dependency, a state of survival where income is immediately consumed by expenses, leaving no room for error and no hope for the future. This is the starting point for so many, a cycle of living paycheck to paycheck, feeling trapped and powerless. From there, we took our first crucial steps toward control, moving into the early stages of building a financial defense against the uncertainties of life. We progressed to level 2, stability, where we broke the cycle by creating our very first surplus and building a small starter emergency fund of $1,000. This was a monumental victory, a shift from pure survival to the beginnings of control. Then came level 3, the buffer, where we expanded that safety net to cover 3 to 6 months of essential expenses, providing real breathing room and eliminating the corrosive effects of high-interest debt. These first 3 levels formed our defensive foundation, a solid base of security from which we could confidently launch our offensive strategy for building long-term wealth and achieving our ultimate goals. The middle act of our journey, levels 4 through 7, was all about growth and acceleration. At level 4, growth, we began intentionally investing our surplus. At level 5, leverage, we learned to harness the incredible power of the employer match, securing a guaranteed 100% return. This led us to the game-changing milestone of level 6, coasting FI, the magical point where compound interest takes over, and our portfolio can grow to our retirement number all on its own. Finally, we reached level 7, freedom, where our investments could cover half our expenses, granting us the first true taste of independence from mandatory work. The final act brought us to the ultimate destinations on our map. Level 8 security was about building a buffer beyond our FI number, creating a margin of safety that provides unshakable peace of mind. This led directly to level 9, independence, the finish line where our portfolio fully funds our lifestyle, granting us complete control over our time. And finally, we explored level 10, abundance, the stage where our wealth exceeds our needs, empowering us to create a legacy of generosity and impact. This 10-level framework demystifies the path, transforming a daunting goal into a series of clear, sequential, and achievable steps. Section 2. The story of John and Jane. A blueprint for success. Throughout our masterclass, their journey was our practical guide. We met them at level 1, earning $5,000 a month, with a surplus of 0. They were trapped on the financial treadmill. No forward progress. We turned abstract principles into concrete actions. They meticulously tracked their spending. They identified areas to cut back. They created a $500 monthly surplus. That small change became the catalyst, the hinge that opened their financial future. Section 3. The unchanging rules of the road. As we conclude, it is essential to revisit the core principles that underpinned John and Jane's success. These are the simple, unchanging rules of the road to wealth. If you take nothing else away from our time together, let it be these fundamental truths. The first and most important rule is to spend less than you earn. This creates a surplus. Without a surplus, no progress is possible. You must find a way to create a gap between your income and your expenses, no matter how small it is at first. This surplus is the seed from which your entire financial future will grow. The second rule is to have a plan for that surplus. In the beginning, the plan is defensive. Your first priority is a starter emergency fund to protect you from small shocks. Your second priority is to aggressively pay down any high-interest debt, like credit cards or payday loans. This debt is a financial cancer that will sabotage your progress if it is not eliminated. Once that is done, your third priority is to build a full buffer of 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. These steps create a fortress of financial security around you, a foundation that cannot be shaken by life's inevitable storms. The third rule is to leverage free money. The most powerful example of this is the employer match on a retirement account. You must contribute enough to get the full match before you invest a single dollar elsewhere. It is an instant, risk-free 100% return on your money. To ignore this is to willingly leave part of your salary on the table. This is the single greatest investment opportunity available to most people, and it should be treated as the top priority once your defensive foundation is secure. This simple action provides a massive and immediate boost to your wealth-building engine. The fourth rule, invest the rest of your surplus consistently. The fifth rule, be patient. Section 4, the power of big number clarity. One of the guiding philosophies of this masterclass has been the principle of big number clarity. We have intentionally avoided complex jargon. We have intentionally avoided confusing charts. We have intentionally avoided financial fine print. Instead, we have focused on making the most important numbers big, bold, and impossible to ignore. We drew John and Jane's budget with a $5,000 income and $5,000 in expenses. We saw the 0 surplus. This clarity was not for dramatic effect, it was to make the problem undeniable. When you see exactly where every dollar is going, you can start to make intentional changes. Clarity is the first step toward control. Section 5, your first step on the path. We have covered a tremendous amount of ground, charting a complete path from dependency to abundance. The natural question now is, what do you do next? The answer is simple. You take one step. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Your journey to financial independence is no different. Your task today is not to figure out how to get to level 10. Your task is to figure out which level you are on right now. Then identify the single most important action to get to the next one. That is it. Focus only on the immediate step in front of you. Do not be overwhelmed by the entire staircase. Just focus on climbing to the very next step. Each step you take builds momentum for the next. Take out a piece of paper right now. Run the simple math for your own situation. What is your income? What are your expenses? What is your surplus? What is your FI number? Your annual expenses multiplied by 25. Write these figures down in big, bold numbers. This simple act gives you the clarity you need to start. This is not a dream. It is a solvable math problem. Thank you for joining me on this journey. My goal: provide a simple, clear, repeatable path to wealth. The principles are not complicated, but they require discipline and patience. The story of John and Jane shows it is possible. The power of big number clarity. The unchanging rules of money. These are your tools. The path is laid out before you. All that remains is for you to take that first, crucial step. Pick your level. Do the math. Start your journey toward freedom. Start your journey toward choice. Start your journey toward eventual abundance. The power to change your future is in your hands.